living in Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston.
New York.
Boston.
Boston.
There's a lot of culture, there's a lot of different places to go, and it's very convenient to get around. It's on the shore, it's a port essentially. There's a lot going on there, it has history to it.
Not that I'm like really into history, but it does like more historical. I feel like it just makes it nicer. I think it's just like a fun city.
Boston itself is just a lot more walkable, denser. It's a very young city. And we're starting to see, I think the younger generation just have that preference to be a little bit more mobile and a little freer. And it doesn't necessarily mean being able to get into a car and drive 20 miles. It means being in a place where they can walk to their favorite restaurant, coffee shop. Compact, mixed-use environments that have multiple modes of transportation are places that are highly desirable for particularly the millennials.
Cities all across the country now are developing neighborhoods that have these types of characteristics. Higher density, mixed use, walkable and bikeable neighborhoods where you don't have to have a car to be able to survive. That becomes a really attractive place in which to live because you're able to do more things without always having to get into your car. They want to be in a place where they could go to art shows, go to music shows. That's really what a number of cities are moving towards now.
It's a little too rural for me.
I feel like it's kind of boring.
Too spread out. There's really not that much to do.
Rural, desolate, boring.
Here in Connecticut, it's impossible to live and have a life if you do not drive.
The highway system of Massachusetts is a lot more efficient because the highways move around Boston rather than through it. Other than Connecticut, where all the highways come out like spokes from Hartford. So it's very difficult to get around.
You can't build your way out of that congestion. You can't keep building more highways to solve the highway congestion problem. If their highways are congested, they just can't keep building more highway capacity. So the rail line becomes a more attractive alternative to that.
It's called the T, and that's pretty much all I know.
You can take the T around the city and it's just easier getting around. The T is just way more affordable.
It is easier to be able to just hop on a subway and just go a few stops and not have to worry about parking or anything like that.
Yes, young people are driving less than previous generations of young people. They're also driving less than people of current generations that are older people.
Right now, I don't plan on having a car.
If I do get a job within Boston, I may consider not having a car.
I do not drive. I don't know how to drive. I don't have a license.
No, I don't think so. I think it'd be way too expensive.
I'm excited to learn how to get around without a car.
Maybe not 10. I feel like at that point I'd probably like be living in a house.
Maybe I'll find that city life really isn't for me. Maybe it's not as convenient, all the transportation when you have a family.
I can't really say 10. I may move to the suburbs.
It may not be that they prefer the suburbs, but they find it easier and less expensive to raise kids in the suburbs as they move into the middle part of their life. It says the evidence suggests that people would actually like to live in more urban environments, but they also want it to be a place that's got relatively low crime rates and has good public schools, and those are very hard to find.
There is little incentive for young people to stay here.
I know I want to move to a city right after college, and I think a lot of college students do, and like Hartford doesn't really have much going on.
They can do a lot more to attract younger people, educated people to stay here. If the transportation system was better.
There's good evidence here in providing financial support for improving public transportation services, completing bicycle networks, doing integrated pedestrian planning, all of which can facilitate travel by the modes.
It doesn't necessarily take a whole lot in order to make a neighborhood cool or trendy place where people like to be. The trick is then to make the city have enough cultural activity, job opportunities, and other amenities that make it attractive enough for people to want to stay, just enough to make people think, okay, there's stuff here that I can do.
Even a small town can be a great destination for a young person, provided it's got a little bit of energy. They do have to be walkable. They need to invest in that kind of infrastructure, and I think to be successful.